direct energy weapons, or DEW systems. A directed energy weapon is a ranged weapon that damages its target with highly focused energy without a solid projectile, including lasers, microwaves, particle beams, and sound beams. Potential applications of this technology include weapons that target personnel, missiles, aircraft, vehicles, technology, and optical devices. These direct energy weapons may have been used to help in the resetting of the old world. If you understand the high technology that the old world possessed, it is very possible these direct energy weapons were a reinvention from old world technology. Another note to consider is the use of these weapon systems to clean out and destroy underground facilities or DUMBs. Here you see the system in action. Devastation, where they completely will reset. I believe this is from the Maui fire, where they completely wipe out an entire town in order to rebuild, to restructure, reinvent the landscape, or possibly to clean out underground facilities. The awkward moment when the forest fires forget to burn the forest. Here you see a massive development. All the houses are turned into white ash. None of the trees have been burned. Now, the Paradise, California 2018 fire, or the Camp Fire, started one night, and from the east, the orangish-red smoke just slowly invaded the airspace above us. The Camp Fire was the deadliest and most destructive wildfire in California's history and the most expensive natural disaster in the world in 2018 in terms of insured losses. The smoke came in from the east, and then the sky turned red and then orange. Anytime you're seeing red and orange smoke, know that these direct energy weapons are used, and most likely chemicals have been evaporated due to the heat of the laser, putting the particles that have been uncontaminated into the atmosphere, causing a reddish-orange color. 2018, the year the forest fires forgot the forest. Do you know why? You will find out soon. Northern California in 2021, this was another large fire in Northern California. During this fire, evacuations took place. Just before evac, bright red smoke was seen. The red smoke is an indicator that direct energy weapons are used and DUMBs have been cleaned out. This may connect to what is going on within the secret underground bunkers and the cleaning out of the bunkers. Here you can see a housing development. I'm not sure if this is the Paradise Camp Fire, but you can see this housing development with no cars anywhere. It's very isolated and way off. But then you see every house is turned to ash and none of the surrounding trees are affected. This could be a cover or a red flag for what is going on under the ground. When you have these fake housing developments or fake towns, the power usage that these towns use is for underground operation. Now, this could also connect to like the Sandy Hook massacre, where the entire town where these shootings take is owned by Raytheon or BlackRock or one of these major military contractors, where under the ground they're doing secretive operations, child sex trafficking, bioweapons manufacturing, all kinds of bad stuff, and they can only be eliminated by the use of these laser systems. And basically they'll blow them up underground, causing these 10-kilometer earthquake or 5 or 7-kilometer earthquake, and then they burn them out with the laser system. Direct energy weapons could have several main advantages over conventional weaponry. Direct energy weapons can be used discreetly, as radiation does not generate sound and is invisible if outside of the visible light spectrum in most cases. Light is, for practical purposes, unaffected by gravity, windage, and the Coriolis effect, giving it an almost perfect flat trajectory, like Earth. This makes aim much more precise and extends to the range of line of sight, limited only by the beam's diffraction and spread, which dilutes the power and weakens the effect. Now, I wouldn't agree that light is not affected by gravity, but that is a discussion for another video. Lasers travel at light speed and have a long range, making them suitable for use in space warfare, if you believe that. Laser weapons potentially eliminate many logistical problems in terms of ammunition supply, as if there is enough power or energy to power them, you can shoot infinitely. And if you have some type of a zero-point energy system, you have unlimited ammunition. Depending on several operational factors, direct energy weapons may be cheaper to operate than conventional weapons in certain contexts. Use of high-powered microwave weapons, which are typically used to degrade and damage electronics such as drones, can be hard to attribute to a particular actor. Types of direct energy weapons. There are microwaves, ground-based systems, air-based systems, lasers, particle beams, plasma weapons, and sonic or sound frequency weapons. Microwave weapon systems are ground-based systems used to heat the water within human skin, causing irritation and discomfort. Used in crowd disbursement and riot control, I would think you'd be ready to be seeing these weapon systems used more and more as the New World Order comes into full power and we begin to see the collapse of the banking systems. Active denial systems. The active denial system is the same non-lethal direct energy weapon developed by the U.S. military, designed for aerial denial, perimeter security, and crowd control. Informally, the weapon is also called the heat ray, since it works by heating the surface of the target, such as skin, or targeting human beings. Raytheon had marketed this reduced-range version of this technology. Whenever these systems are needed most to protect the population, properties, and personal possessions, they are not used. If they are not used during violent riots like BLM and Antifa, along with the gathering of Soros-backed assets, when do you think they will be used? If the military has done nothing to seal our open northern and southern borders, they let a presidential election be stolen, and they have let a foreign government occupy our country's highest offices, these weapons will be turned against the people. When the whites, Christian people have had enough, the military will turn on the people. They will be ordered to fire upon us, and most will not disobey orders given to them by those in power. We have seen it many times before. They will turn these systems up. They will use them against the white American taxpayers. Never in the inner city. It'll all be used in rural places where the population is mainly white. That is because we are at war with the Zionist occupation, and they do not like Christians or anyone who follows Jesus Christ. If you do not believe me, see some of my other videos and understand who these national Zionists are. Ground-based laser defense systems. These systems are used to combat aircraft on the battlefield. They can be used to take out approaching vehicles and personnel if needed. There's a picture of these systems. You can Google direct energy weapons. They are not hiding this information anymore because they're going to start using them more and more on the people. And they want you to understand that they tell you the truth and they hide it in plain sight. Here are handheld devices commonly used in defense against drones and aerial targets associated with drones. Here's another version of the portable UAV countering system. Sound weapons. High-frequency, high-energy weapon systems. If you've ever put a microwave in a CD, it does not work. Can fry and disrupt equipment, can have negative effect on humans, and can make homemade versions. Some people can make homemade versions of these from old microwave ovens using the magnetron waveguide and other parts. It's another active denial system where they can say they had nothing to do with it, but we know that they are behind all of these things. Radio frequency weapons emit electromagnetic radiation somewhere in the radio spectrum. This can be used by drive-by RF shootings, not far-fetched. They can drive by your house and zap these things through your walls, causing damage or irritation. Here's the range of human hearing, how your brain and mind picks up these different frequencies, and when they understand the ranges, they can then go into way outside of the range and blast you with those rays. Air-based systems. These air-based systems are mounted on the fronts and backs of massive aircraft, and this also connects to the old world with these airships and zeppelins and stuff. They could have massive mirrors on them, and that's what was used to melt these old world cities, turning old world cities from bricks into a liquid form and then rehardened or fossilized. Here you can see how these direct energy weapons are used. Now, what would be the point of zapping a baseball field and going back and forth burning it, unless there was something massive underneath the field that they were trying to eliminate? That is the purpose of these new weapons, to zap these bunkers and stuff and eliminate all personnel, whether it be creatures or bioweapons, hazardous chemicals, whatever. They use them, they melt them out, and then the hazardous chemicals are no longer hazardous after they've been evaporated by the laser beams. Here's more videos seeing how these laser beams work. Now, these weapon systems can also be attached to the Satelloon systems and floated around above people and connected with the 5G towers as a targeting system. Here's more videos. Here's a satellite footage showing that these lasers are being used against the population. Now, maybe it's the Masonic evil child sex trafficking part of the population, or maybe it's just regular people, but they are using them, and they are using this on U.S. soil and against U.S. people, property, and eliminating target. Here's more pictures, very selective on whose house gets melted and whose house does not get melted. Very odd when you step back and understand how these systems work and who are the ones on the button firing these weapons at us. This was another explosion where they send down a pulse weapon and completely destroy a massive complex and underground system. Here's more footage where the houses are turned to ash and the trees aren't even scored by fire at all. This is just zapping, and eliminating. We don't know if there's people inside. We don't know if they're good, bad, white hats, black hats. We don't know anything. But we do know that these were targets that had to be eliminated, and now they're gone. And it's not the planet's overpopulated, so let's just start burning random houses in the middle of the forest. These are targets that had to be eliminated, and they were eliminated. Here's another picture of another one of these developments, where it's just a little too perfect that all these houses are turned to ash, and we don't understand, are these houses connected to underground structures? Are they all a front? Are the houses all fake to look like houses and nobody really lives in them, where certain people will go to certain houses and there's an elevator system in there that goes down? We don't know, but these houses were targeted and eliminated. Here's some more pictures. Eliminated, no trees burned, and then some houses just left untouched, making zero sense. The grass isn't even discolored. Very, very odd. Here's a before and after picture of another suburb. It's a little too clean. It's a little too perfect. You know, you don't see any trash cans filled up. You don't see anything, and then just wiped out to ash, down to the foundation. Completely eliminating it, and I mean, there's nothing that would spread fire to the house if the trees aren't burnt. There's no long grass in the background. It's all mowed down, and just the house turned to ashes. Here's a couple more pictures, completely eliminating the structures to ash. Here's a wide shot of the devastation. Now, this is hard to read, but in the top picture, you see the Hiroshima bomb, where the atomic weapons were used. Then you see carpet bombing photos in Rotterdam, Netherlands, and then in the last fire you see the California fires. They're all very similar. All of these could be used by directed energy weapons or pulses from a large system in the upper atmosphere. Now this could get into whether the moon is really a space station and a weapon system brought here to monitor and control us, and that's where these pulses come from, where they wipe out entire cities. This coincides with the Great Chicago Fire in 1871. 1871 was when the U.S. was incorporated and all operations began eliminating the old world, reducing and removing the free energy technology, and turning the entire city made out of bricks, large stones, and masonry into just pieces of rubble. Do you really think this was a fire that was natural, or were they using some kind of high-tech weaponry to reset the city and set back history as we know it? Here's more pictures. It looks just like some Hiroshima bomb or something. The entire flat city is completely wiped out. The bricks are melted and blown up. You can see these giant angle cuts in the bricks as if some kind of robot was blowing them up, it's definitely laser beams cutting bricks in half at 45-degree angles. Very odd. Everywhere you look throughout the old world, they had these massive fires which reset giant populations. Even in the town that I live at, if you have mud-flooded architecture anywhere in your town, there was a great fire between 1850 and 1910-ish. You can find some examples where, this was a fire in 1820 or maybe a little before, but every massive city with this kind of architecture was wiped out and destroyed. Here's more pictures of the Chicago fire, and it's just, the fire is way too big. It wouldn't happen just by grass burning. These are massive city-wide reset events used to completely destroy a massive population center. And the bricks are just cut as if they were hit with a laser beam or something. Very odd. Now, I don't know if these structures were built after, but you see all the structures standing are wood structures, and they all have railroad tracks and depots, but the massive old world buildings are all hit and destroyed. Here's another thing I found. If you look at what they have rescued from these fires, they're all safe. And back then, the safes would have been filled with gold and silver coins, jewelry, and things like that. So after the fire, the only rescue attempt was to rescue these safes from the rubble of these buildings and stuff. The best way to steal the wealth of the nation is to melt the city and then come and grab the safes out, which are undamaged, and take all the gold and silver inside of them. Very odd. Now here's a depiction of old world weapons. This looks like some kind of a sound or laser beam weapon that could have been mounted on one of these Zeppelin ships used to go along and melt these cities. And then you see these flying Vermana or something, I believe they're called. But these flying cities and bases or military outposts could have been used in the resetting and melting of these old world cities. It's very possible when you understand the old world and the technology they had. Now here's an older, ancienter depiction where they would use mirrors. They would hit the sun would hit the mirror, and they would point them at vessels and see, using them as some kind of a magnifying glass to heat up the ship, burn holes in them, and sink them before they got ashore. Now this system and the principles behind it are very easy to follow. You can see how one mirror might not do anything, two it would probably count, but once you start adding 3, 4, and 5 mirrors and focusing all the energy on a vessel, it would go up very quickly the way a magnifying glass can focus and start a fire. It's all reflecting. Now while these domes are getting blasted, or the lasers are working, you can see here I've made kind of a display of how this works. The red beams are how the lasers hit and pulse and burn out this underground bait. The 2 orange columns are the ventilation shafts, just hidden as a bridge structure. But within the structures of the bridge are the airflow inlet and outlet. So when they start burning these things out, there's always a place on the outside of a town with these types of bridges where the air shafts are hidden in case of massive flooding event, where when these elites or whatever go into the ground, they're going to stay for a long time, then they're going to melt all the buildings and civilization, and then they're going to come back. This could also be like a zombie apocalypse, where the zombie 5G people are activated, the elites go into the underground, and then 10, 15 years later, when the population is weak enough, they come out of the bunkers, reset history, they rewrite history, and completely start a new version of reality. This will be what will happen when the New World Order comes to full power. Now, it is rumored that in these underground bases, there is a war being fought, an underground subterranean war against these controllers. This war utilizes advanced weapons and weapon systems that are used by the direct energy weapons and may be a part of a larger war going on. These weapon systems must be used due to the chemicals and substances contained within the underground bases or facilities. These can be bioweapons, adrenochrome, tainted adrenochrome, the black goo substance, lizard people or reptilians, and this is why you see so much red smoke coming out of these fires. The red coloring is from the FeOO2, ferrous iron oxide blood of these creatures mixed with the black goo or other kind of chemicals that are very hazardous to humans. I have heard this on numerous occasions from my confidential sources and others that think this is possible, but we must question everything and associate it to this time of Great Awakening. Now, maybe these direct energy weapons are being used to clean out enemy targets or personnels, or maybe they're just random forest fires that don't burn any of the forest. Ask questions, look into this yourself. The part 2 of this video will focus on mainly the underground bases and the types of information I have found. You can find me on Mud Fossil Research and Truth, Mud Fossil Truth and Research on Instagram, or you can find me on Twitter, Mud Fossil Truth, Mud Fossil Guy, in the black box below. Check me out. My pages are all shadow banned, so it might take you a while to find it. Here are my 3 channels I mainly focus on: Rumble at Modern American Gangster, BitChute Modern American Gangster, and Mud Fossil Research and Truth on YouTube. You can buy my book, The Great Awakening, where a lot of this information is in there. The Great Awakening Unit 1, Timeline of Historical Events. The Great Awakening Unit 2, Continued Points of Study. There's an ebook or a digital download, or you can buy Unit 1 and Unit 2 together in one larger version. Thank you for watching the end. Please like, subscribe, follow, leave comments, questions, and I'll try to get back to you. Thank you, and have a good day.